And welcome back to the program. Can you believe we're like 32 days away from the election? It's unbelievable. From the Democratic Club, I want to welcome Alan Feldman to the program. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. The election's coming up, and it's kind of down to the wire. I mean, we've been talking about it for so long. It's it's hard to believe it's here. You know, it's like waiting for Christmas, except not as fun maybe.
Really? Well, it depends. We'll see how much fun it is. But you're right. I mean, it's our mission, as we always say, is to get people to vote. And well, now is the time.
Now is the time.
But the thing is with the election. People, the election day is November 5th, but the election ends on November the 5th. The election is going to begin next week because the registrar of voters, starting October 7th, is going to be sending out ballots to all registered voters. And the election begins when you receive your ballot.
Yeah, I got my ballot actually in the mail just the other day.
Yeah. You can literally, as soon as you get your ballot, you can fill it out. Voting in California.
Well, maybe I got my guide. Actually, I got my guide.
Right. Voting in California is the simplest thing that it can be. I mean, everybody gets the ballot mailed to them, and there's a lot of ways you can return it. Very simple. You can just put it, as soon as you get it, you can fill it out, put it in an envelope. You got to put it in an envelope that's provided by the registrar of voters. But you can just put it in the mail. You don't have to put a stamp on it, and you've cast your ballot. It's gone. And if people don't want to put it in the mail, there's going to be throughout Orange County what they call ballot drop boxes.
Right.
Those are put out, they're maintained, they're serviced by the registrar of voters. You put your completed ballot in there, you put it in there, and the registrar of voters will come and pick it up, take it to where they count all the ballots.
Yeah, and I did that. I think that in the the primaries earlier this year over at my library by my house.
Right, and you can actually do it at any drop box in Orange County. You don't have to go one in your area, but there's also what's going to be called what they call vote centers. Very similar to what we used to call polling places.
Right.
There's going to be a couple in our area, and you can vote there in person. A lot of people like to go traditionally on election day, vote in person. You can do that there, or you can complete your ballot and hand it to an election worker there. You complete it at home, hand it to an election worker if you feel safer doing that.
Sure.
And it'll go there. And we know there are going to be two in our area. One is going to be at Laguna Woods City Hall on El Chorro Road. There's going to be a ballot drop box out in front, and there's going to be the vote center in the building. And that's going to be open the vote center will be open from November the 2nd until November the 5th.
Okay.
And the other one in our area is going to be at Laguna Hills Community Center. And it's the same setup, both ballot drop box outside and the voting center inside. That one's going to be open from October 26th to November the 5th. And basically, they're open all day. They're open from 8 in the morning till 5 at night, and then the hours get longer as they
Let's
go
find
along.
out a little bit about Alan. Are you an early voting guy? Are you a ballot guy? Or are you a day of guy?
I fill it out as soon as I get it.
Okay.
My mind is, as people might imagine, my mind.
I feel like you're locked in. I don't think I can sway you.
And I just do it right away. And put it back in the mail.
Done, and there you go. You wear that sticker for a month or so.
Yeah, really. And another thing, if I may, is that we urge people, really important, to vote the entire ballot.
Right. And you have some guidance on your website for folks who want to maybe know about the down ballot folks as well, right?
Absolutely. And I just want to show, I don't know if this will show up. I've got prop today. And I don't know which camera we're on. But
it's one of the door hangers?
Yes, this is one of the door hangers. I'm not looking at the names that are on here. I'm looking at the offices. Oh, there we go. Pick it up. And you can see where my hand is here. Those offices show President, Vice President, Senate, Congress, and the state legislative offices. This is where so many people stop when they vote. But if you look down here, there's literally 16 other elections.
School superintendents. There's also city council.
3 city council seats in Laguna Woods. There's 4 separate elections for school districts and school boards on this.
And there's propositions out there too.
There are 9 ballot propositions.
And there's some that are completely opposing each other.
Ballot propositions are a weird thing because what do we hear about them? We hear television ads about them, and they can be misleading. Let's say. So there are a couple that I'd just like to mention, which I feel there's a lot of misleading information about, and people don't really grasp because there's no really way to do it. But one of it is proposition number 5. Now, if this is a constitutional amendment, if you listen to the people who are opposing to it, it sounds like if this passes, Proposition 13 is repealed, and your taxes are going to go up the day that the votes are counted. Well, that's not true. It doesn't really have anything to do with taxes. It's a change right now. Cities, counties, if they want to build schools, if they want to infrastructure, if they want to enhance their fire protection, they have to pass a bond to fund it. The bond has to be passed right now by 66.7% of the people voting. That's 2/3.
Kind of a supermajority.
That's almost unreachable. It is unreachable.
Yeah.
This will change the Constitution so that these have to pass to float bonds. The cities will have to have 55% of the people supporting it. That's a strong majority. And just for research purposes, I went back and looked at our presidential elections, and we've had a bunch of landslides. But the last president to get more than presidential candidate to get more than 55% of the vote was Ronald Reagan in 1984. So there's that one, and there's also another one that I think people are a little confused about, and that's Proposition 33, which deals with rent control. And again, people who are opposing it saying if this passes, then all of state of California will be under rent control. That's not the case. Right now, it's called the Costa-Hawkins rental law, which governs California law. And that says that any locality is forbidden from instituting rent control or rent stabilization. This would repeal that. It doesn't mean there's going to be rent control. It means that it's now a local decision as opposed to a state decision.
Okay. Yeah.
And things like that. You hear the ads for it, and you really don't know where they're going.
But there's confusion. But I understand, at least with Prop 5, I understand in terms of if we lower the threshold to pass a bond, that encumbers the state to pay for a school or whatever. But that is kind of in a way I can see how some people are saying, well, that raises our taxes because the state is paying for it through our tax dollars, right? So if it makes it easier to pass bonds, then we have more, to pay for.
Well, for school bonds, the threshold is 55% now, and
so it's just going to level it out.
It's going to level it out for other things, for things like infrastructure and things of that nature. And these are for local. These are not state. These are for locals. This is like if Orange County wanted to float a bond.
Well, when it all comes down to it, the watch party, you're going to have folks over November 5th. Is it going to be your house or going to be over Clubhouse 5?
Clubhouse 5, we're taking a chance. We're hoping for a good time. It's going to be a watch party. It's Taco Tuesday. We're going to have catered tacos. We're charging people $15 on the flyers. There's a place you can sign up.
Sure.
And before that, we have our regular meeting. If we just have time to stick this in here.
Sure, absolutely.
On Tuesday, October 15th.
You have sociologist Stephen Brint's going to be here?
That's right. And he's going to be talking about, he's a professor of public policy and sociology. He specializes in higher education, and he's going to be contrasting what he feels the ramifications of the election will be of a Harris victory on higher education and of a Trump victory on higher education. And we're hoping if there's anybody who hasn't voted who comes to the meeting, he'll scare them enough that they'll vote.
All right, so October 15th, 7 p.m., Clubhouse 2, sociologist Stephen Brint going to be talking about the overhaul of higher education, whether either side wins, which that could look like. Watch party is going to be November 5th, not at Alan's house, but over at Clubhouse 5 starting at 5:30. And, of course, get out the vote. That's the big message.
Get out the
today.
vote. Everybody vote, really. It's so easy. There's no excuse not to. Everybody should vote.
All right. Alan Feldman from the Democratic Club, thanks for joining us as always.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
You're watching This Day. When we come back, we're going to be talking to the Theater Guild about the music for an autumn night. Stay with us.